Americans to have headlined the all-black comedy review, which is running for 16 years. And well, why would they hire a white guy to do the all-black comedy review?
That credit shocks every white person that sees it.
Well, it does.
Because
it says all black.
Yeah, the audience is
You're
400.
as white as bread.
Ted, don't tell the audience how white I am. They will figure it out with this voice.
Red hair, okay? How many black people you ever met with red hair?
Well, Cisco tried. Well, I think it was more blonde, but I really wanted to do that show, so I just kept bugging Kenny about it, and then he put me
Kenny
on one
Robinson.
night. Yep.
He's a very funny man. We got to have him on this program.
Yeah, Kenny Robinson's fantastic. So I did it a bunch of times, and then he asked me to headline, and I was horrified, but I did it, and it was super fun.
Is this Nubian thing?
Yeah.
Whatever it does?
Yeah.
Richard Pryor, Nubian.
Oh, it's like that has a giant title. It's Nubian Disciples of Richard Pryor, Comedy Night Power, Black Show of everybody.
He was on. I interviewed him years ago, and I was doing a similar show here, and an elderly gentleman called in, and the man was not being racist or anything. It just he was an elderly guy, and he just came across as that way. And I think you used the word colored and.
Oh yeah.
But you could tell he was. That's just he he wasn't a mean man.
Yeah.
And at one point, Kenny says to me, he says, Bill, or whatever his name is, you're never too old for a drive-by.
Yeah, Kenny's great.
The old guy was probably thinking A&W.
Yeah.
How did you get into this wacky field of comedy?
I always wanted to do stand-up. I got, it sounds ridiculous. I got kicked out of like a lot of classes in school because it's, I talk a lot. All I do is talk, mostly, I suppose. So it was always just something I wanted to do, and then I started to do it when I could. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not really that great a story. It should be like I should, I was hit by lightning, and then I got crazy powers. But no, I just wanted to do it.
And did you start in Halifax?
Yeah, I did about 10 shows in Halifax, and then moved to the great super city that is Toronto.
And how old were you when you left Halifax?
19.
Wow.
Yeah. I just become legal to drink. But I had been drinking since I was 13 because that is what Nova Scotia does. Is that a weird thing to say, guys?
No, it doesn't bother me. I'm sure there's some people sitting there from Nova Scotia going, "Damn that kid! What's he talking about?" Lucy, give me that phone. It's right beside the bottle of rye.
So I moved here when I was 19. I've been doing stand-up for a little over 6 years now.
Yeah, good for you. Tough gig.
Yes.
Tough gig. I did it for a number of years.
Oh yeah.
I think it is the toughest kind of performance that there is, because it's just you. As George Carlin used to say, you get up on stage and it's dig me.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And people don't applaud or fake laughter. Like if a band's really bad, at the end of a 4-minute song, they know the song's over, they'll at least politely do this.
Oh, for sure.
People will not politely laugh. They won't fake laughter.
Definitely the Nubian show will not politely fake laughter. And most shows, just in general. People really just don't care when it's one person alone. They're like, look at this guy. What's he going to do? If we don't like him, let's try to break his spirit right here in front of everybody he's ever loved.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If you're ever feeling really, really cocky, go and play a round of golf during the day, and then go on stage and do stand-up at night.
Oh, yeah.
You'll wake up the next morning, you won't know where the razor blades are, because they'll all be sticking in your wrists.
Yeah, if anybody wanted to feel bad about themselves, try your first set at the Rivoli downtown, and you will probably cry.
Now, I'm reading at one point back in about a year ago, in June of last year, that you and two of your buddies and roommates, Steve Schultz and Nick Beaton, all decided that comedy sucked here, so you were...
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say sucked here.
Well, I did.
All right.
So you decided
Ted's
to...
just throwing it in there. I still got to walk around here, Ted.
We're dissatisfied with what was happening, so it took off for New York, Los Angeles, and London, England.
Yes.
And had a goodbye Toronto show, and what happened?
I moved to New York. Steve went to L.A., and Nick went to England. And now I've been living in New York for the last 5.5 months, I suppose, 6 months.
Okay, cool.
And
so you are still there.
Yeah. I'm only here right now to do some shows. Make Canadian money's more right now than American money, so we need to, you know what I mean? Need to stack those.
They don't take to that very well in the States, though, do they?
No, and you can't even look at somebody with Canadian money down there. It doesn't even matter that ours is worth more. They would take a Wilfrid Laurier 5 and ball it up in your face and throw it away. Um,
I'm surprised you know who's on the 5 because I didn't.
oh, it's all. I've only really seen 5s in my life, so I just you got to know who's on that bill. Sir Wilfrid Laurier. So yeah, I've been living in New York for the last 6 months.
See, if I had a choice to go between any of those 3 cities, I would have chosen New York as well.
Yeah. I've been to England, and I like it to a degree. England hates red-haired people, though, which is a strange phenomenon, and it's always dark there. It's overcast.
It's like BC.
Yeah, but BC likes red-haired people. I've been there. England hates red-haired people. Dye your hair red, guys, and walk to England and see what happens.
Where did you hear this? Or
I heard it from people in
say
England.
this?
I got yelled at in the street.
Wasn't Sarah Toesucker Ferguson or whatever? Wasn't she right here?
Yeah, but she's a duchess. What are you going to say to a duchess?
Well,
I have
how
no.
about goodbye,
I have no.
and you're under arrest.
I have no royal power over there. I
No.
think one of the princes has red hair as well. William or Harry? Harry.
Mhm.
Yes. But yeah. Anyways. So yeah, New York. That's where I've been, and that's where I wanted to go as well.
And it's brutally expensive there to live in, like in an apartment.
You know what? It is not as bad as I live in Queens, and it's not as bad. It's like here. No joke. I was living at Young and Bloor.
Queens is a borough, right?
Yes.
New York City is.
Ted just drew a borough.
Yes,
Everyone,
I did.
just so you know.
Well, I need to do these kinds of things because I'm really not that smart. And Manhattan is the island on which is Queens on Manhattan? No.
No.
New York City is on the island of Manhattan.
Manhattan pretty much is the whole thing is New York City, but Manhattan, I suppose, for most people would be New York City.
Okay, so the other boroughs like Queens,
Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island.
That's all part of New York City.
Yeah, like it'd be like the GTA
Right,
sort of deal. Yeah,
right.
but Queens is like it only takes 20 minutes for me to get to Times Square on the train. So I mean, I'm not far by any means, and it's not crazy expensive. There's cockroaches. There's more cockroaches than there are in Canada. But they
we
pay
have more
some of
bed
the.
bugs, though.
Do you guys? Is it still a big problem here?
Well, I'm hearing like a lot of commercials on the air for bed bug fighting companies.
I like that those commercials too are happy. You know what I mean? You got bed bugs, get rid of them. Like these are awful. It should just be you got them, we take them out. Should be no happy commercial there.
The raid commercials were the best over the
Oh
years.
man, happy ants for a minute eating.
Yeah.
Like, oh look at this, and
Now,
then
do you live by yourself?
no, I've got I live in a three-bedroom house, so I got 2 roommates.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So an actual house with like a yard and everything.
Well, I mean, a New York yard. You can't really. No, you can't. No. I was thinking of the things I could do on this yard, and I was like, no, not that. I can't.
Can you take a leak?
Yeah, if you want to do that,
Right.
standing up. That's
'Cause
the only
I
way to
believe
do it.
that's a rite, a passage for men. That every man has the God-given right to pee outside.
I hear that. I'm a fan.
Anybody disagree with
Yeah,
me?
does anybody
Guys
disagree
in
with
the
that?
other room? No?
Yeah,
No?
yeah, that makes sense. That's what we're supposed to do
Exactly.
at some point.
Well, absolutely. But what are you going to do? You know, you're on a golf course. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
You're going to hold it until the 9th hole?
Or if you're
I don't
camping,
think so.
I'm gonna run into the. I'm gonna go back to the Rangers place.
One of the things that most impressed me years ago, when I was out with one of my cousins, the oldest one, Bill, would just be freaked if he heard me say this, but I don't care. He's in Winnipeg. We're downtown at Grossman's Tavern. You ever been there? You've been there, Bill.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And we're leaving Grossman's Tavern and driving down some side street, and he said, "I really got to go to the washroom." So he pulled over. I said, "Well, there's no washroom here." He goes to the front of the car. He opens up the hood, and there's pees in the car. And
In the car?
No, they opens up the hood. He pees on the engine.
Why?
So because anybody driving by
Would look
wouldn't
like
see
yeah.
him standing there taking a leak.
But
It
doesn't
looks
that
like
have?
he's just checking out what's going on. And obviously, if you see like a puddle, well, obviously the rad's leaking.
But doesn't that have any kind of? Wouldn't that hurt the car in the least? Does that do nothing?
I don't think so. I mean, he's not, doing it in the gas
But
tank.
that was what year was that?
That was years ago. That would have been
That
60s.
was a 78 old.
No, 70s.
70s, yeah. Those cars were made to be
78
peed on. Those cars make it. You know what I mean? You
Yes.
can't pee on a new car. If you peed on a smart car, that car's dead.
Yeah, well, first of all, it would fall over.
The whole thing would just topple.
Exactly. Nathan Macintosh in studio. We're back with more in a moment. It's 2:45 in New